Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Arif Rahman Azis. Now I would like to present my article entitled Investigating Peace Values Portrayed in Non-Governmentally English Textbook for Senior High School Students. Before we begin, I would like to outline the three major parts in this video. They are the introductions, literature review, and research methods. Without further ado, let's get into the first part, introduction. Background. In the status quo, there are a lot of conflict in which created by frictions among societies. The existence of conflict would ultimately lead to the idea of persecutions, violence, and intolerance. Recognize the issues. UNESCO in 1996 prescribed 4 pillars of good and sustainable education. One of the pillars is learning to live together. It is related to the idea of peaceful coexistence with one another through mutual understanding and appreciation toward other people, conflict management, and peace. Indonesian government, as a regulatory institutions, imposed a new curriculum with the emphasis on 18 character value to enforce the national character building, and one of those character values related to the idea of peace values. In this article, I've listed 2 main research questions. They are, what kinds of peace values exist within the English textbooks? The second one is, how do the visual image within the English textbook convey the message of peace values? The objective of this research is plain and simple: to identify the kind of peace values that exist within the English textbook, and to examine the way those visual images convey the message of peace values to the readers. The contributions of this research are: empirically, the upcoming researchers are expected to further investigate the peace values represented in other textbooks. Practically, textbook's author and publisher are expected to provide more inclusions of peace values content in the EFL textbooks, and for teachers to be more selective in selecting textbooks which contain peace values. Now we move on to Chapter 2, Literature Review, the notions of peace values. According to Miller, in 2005, the word peace derived from Latin words pax, which mean contractual relationship based on mutual recognitions and agreement. According to Galton, in 1967, the term peace often correlated with the idea of negative peace or the absence of war, in which Surya in 2001 translated as an encouragement to do a peaceful resolutions to all issues by avoiding all forms of violence, such as bigotry, exploitations, and etc. United Nations, through Article 1, also adapted the idea of peace into the so-called the culture of peace. The culture of peace is a set of values and ways of life based on respect of life and end to all violence through the advocations of non-violent ways such as discourse and education. An expert, Surya, in 2001 stated that the culture of peace is the sum of inner peace, social peace, and peace with nature. Inner peace is basically the kind of peace that comes within ourselves. It is related to the idea of self-harmony, self-peace, wisdom, spiritual peace, satisfactions, and respect of art. Social peace, on the other hand, related to the idea of the harmony on human relations, is how we associate it with other peoples. It is related to the idea of friendship, unity, collaborations, communal building, and etc. And peace with nature, it is related to the harmony between us and natural environment. It is love for the Mother Earth as a whole. Now we're talking peace values on ELT textbook. According to Opoku Amankawa in 2011, textbook possess the ability to help transmit values and beliefs of the society into the students. According to United Nations Educational in 2001, textbook, as the most frequently utilized materials, needs to be integrated with proper peace values to sustain the idea of sustainable character education. As an integral part of national educational reform, Indonesian government imposed a new curriculum 2013 and prescribed 18 character values to sustain national character building. One of those values including peace-loving values. According to Mambu in 2015, the latest curriculum imposed character educations to all subjects. These include English educations. Based on Widodo in 2018, these values may be manifested through text, task, or images. Therefore, these articles will be more focused on the images. Previous studies of peace values in EFL textbook. There are several previous studies related to these articles. The first one was conducted by Gabriel Joyce in 2016. The researcher researched the content and activities of EFL student textbook of grade 9 in Ethiopia. The finding confirmed the existence of all the necessary peace values, including inner peace, social peace, and peace with nature. Although some content contains gender stereotyping, which goes against the core of equality. The second research was conducted by Kruger in 2011. Kruger emphasized his research on the interchange between English as a global language and the social responsibility of teachers in South Africa. Kruger emphasizing on 4 points in his research. The first one is the relation between English and globalizations. The second one is the concept of violence and peace. The third one is the significance of peace educations. And the fourth is the integrations of peace educations. The conclusions of his studies found out that teachers should provide more chances for students to contemplate, comprehend global issues, and provide more skills to the student to be able to solve their daily issues peacefully. The third study was conducted by Ida, Jember, and Bentrovato in 2018. Their study explored the relationship between textbook and the existence of peace and conflict. Their study is an introductory study on the importance of textbook analysis and the existence of peace and conflict in society. Their study concludes that textbooks have been very contributive towards peace and conflict studies. The fourth and final previous studies was conducted by Widodo in 2018. The researcher investigated moral education in Indonesian ELT textbook. The researcher utilized 18 character values set by the government. The finding concluded that textbook has managed to contain the necessary moral value or character value such as nationalism, patriotism, and professionalism, although there is still no explicit value integration in the English instructions. From all of those previous research studies, we can conclude that there are lack of specific peace value research on Indonesian EFL textbook. In addition to that, the analysis using Barthes visual image theory has never been utilized by all of the previous researchers. Therefore, these articles will fill the gap left by all of the previous researchers. Now we have arrived at the third part of the video, which is research method. Now we're going to talk about research design. This research utilized critical discourse analysis as the main research design. According to Fairclough in 2001, critical discourse analysis is an interdisciplinary study of discourse that view language as a social practice. According to Johnson and Buzeli in 2007, critical discourse analysis could help us as a textbook analyst to reveal how values are constructed in the textbook. Now we are going to talk about the research context of this study. So the title of the textbook is Talk Active. It is specifically designed for grade 10 senior high school. It was written by Lerny Kurniawan and Kenneth W. Amen. It was published by Yudhistira. The textbook consists of approximately 10 units and 195 pages in total. There are three main reasons why the researchers selected this particular textbook. The first one is related to the widely use of this particular textbook all around Indonesia. The second one is related to the claim that this textbook have complied with the latest 2013 curriculum. And the third one is related to the status of the publisher as one of the leading private publisher in Indonesia. It is interesting to find out their stance in the inclusions of peace values content within the English textbook. Now we are going to talk about data collection method. Document analysis is utilized as the data collection method. Since the data are gathered from a curriculum document or EFL textbook, there are two main procedures in collecting the data from the textbook. The first one is the identifications of visual image or picture which contain piece values. The second one is the creation of an information table which contain the details of the image, such as the unit, location, sample of the image, the denotations, and the connotations of the image. Now we are going to talk about the data analysis method. The researcher will utilize Barthes' theory of visual semiotic analysis. According to Barthes, in 1977, there are two levels of meanings in order to analyze the existence of sign within the visual object or pictures. They are denotative and connotative. According to Bosida in 2014, denotative defined as a general people perspective on the visual object or pictures. In the other hand, according to Fisk in 1990s, connotations is an interactions between the sign and the emotions or feelings of the users. Now we arrive at the sample of analysis. You might find in this video a pictures, and I will try to analyze it using Barthes' theory of visual semiotic analysis. Now let's analyze it together. This picture denotatively can be analyzed as two male students conversing on a public setting wearing a t-shirt and a trousers. The two students can be identified coming from different racial backgrounds due to the difference in their skin color. Now, if we analyze it connotatively, these pictures have the main aims to proliferate the idea of mutual understanding and tolerance among different races in the societies. It is expected that the students, after seeing this image, to develop some sense of unity within the society. And the last thing, we characterize this image as a picture in which contains the idea of social peace. That is all my presentation related to my research paper entitled Investigating Peace Values Portrayed in Non-Governmentally English Textbook for Senior High School. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.